Governor Christie's here to our immediate right. Governor, first off, your reaction to the Carson controversies.
Listen, everyone's got to be responsible for their own personal story. You know, there's no way for you all to know our personal story unless we tell it.
Are we wrong to look into it?
No. Hey, listen, if you put your personal story out there, then you have an obligation to answer questions about it. And if the voters are satisfied with Dr. Carson's answers, then that'll be the end of the story. If they're not, it won't.
But he said he's won the news cycle, though, because he turned the tables and said this is the mainstream media scrutinizing me more than they ever did for President Obama and more than they're doing for Hillary Clinton right now.
Listen, he's responsible for his own personal story. And if that's part of his answer, then that's part of his answer, and people will evaluate that. But yeah, none of my business. It's his business.
Well, your business is, after this, you're going to be heading out to Milwaukee shortly.
Yep.
As we just heard from John Roberts, you're on the undercard. What do you make of this? You know, when we found out that you were going to do that last week, I thought this was a great opportunity for you. I mean, when you were... and I harken back to when Carly Fiorina was able to dominate the stage, and she did very well. Next thing you know, she's in the middle of the pack on the big stage.
Yeah, no, listen, as I said last week, we're not whiners and moaners and complainers in the Christie campaign. Give me a podium, give me a stage, put the camera on, we'll be just fine. I've never had a problem, as you know, Steve, in making an impression. So we'll make an impression tomorrow night in Milwaukee. We'll see how it goes. But we'll talk about the issues that people care about, and that's why we've been moving up in the polls in New Hampshire and Iowa, because we're working hard and we're talking about the issues people care about.
Let's take a look at those New Hampshire polls. New Hampshire polls, you know, Trump's on top with 18, then Carson with 16, then Rubio with 11, then Kasich, then you. You've doubled. You've doubled what you've done on the ground, and you've done it, you believe, by one-on-one, by doing the small and big things actually on the ground in New Hampshire.
Yeah, we spent 46 days in New Hampshire, which is more than any other candidate by far. I just finished my 33rd town hall meeting there this weekend. Listen, they asked me about drug addiction, they asked me about ISIS, they asked me about national security, and they asked me about student debt. Those are the big things they asked me about in New Hampshire.
Speaking of ISIS, it sounds like we heard all of our top officials say, yeah, it probably was a bomb, and it probably was planted by ISIS. Then you look at the president's strategy regarding ISIS.
What strategy would that be?
Thank you very much. That was my question.
Thank you. We go to the Catskills together on this routine. Now, listen, this is the guy who called ISIS the JV. Well, they certainly don't look like the JV as they're marching across the Middle East and as they're potentially planting bombs on Russian airliners. I mean, you know, this president has not had a strategy right from the beginning, nor has his Secretary of State, John Kerry, nor his former Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton, who, by the way, called Assad a reformer.
Senator Feinstein, a Democrat, has come out against the strategy. We need to be more aggressive. Adam Schiff, a Democrat, essentially said the same thing. Evidently, the reports in Friday's, I think it was the Washington Post, said the schism between the Pentagon and the White House has never been greater. Are you concerned that that might be permanently broken?
Not permanently broken. A new president will fix it, and I will fix it in January of 2017. The problem, Brian, is that we're going to have a lot of things that are going to happen between now and January 2017.
You're worried about the next 18 months?
Of course. And who wouldn't be? Because the president's own counterterrorism director says ISIS is now the #1 threat to American citizens from a terrorism perspective.
And another big threat to Americans is drug addiction. And there's a video of you out that has gone viral. You've come out and you've said that I'm against legalizing marijuana. I think that sends mixed messages to our children, but you want to lock up drug dealers and drug lords and all that. But people who are addicted to drugs, as you'll see here, need some help. Let's listen.
I'm pro-life. And I think that if you're pro-life, that means you got to be pro-life for the whole life. It's easy to be pro-life. For the 9 months they're in the womb, they haven't done anything to disappoint us yet. The 16-year-old teenage girl on the floor of the county lockup, addicted to heroin, I'm pro-life for her too. Her life is just as much a precious gift from God as the one in the womb. And we need to start thinking that way as a party and as a people, and the president needs to say those things.
And your stance on this comes from a personal experience.
Sure. You know, I have a friend from law school who was in my study group in the first year and who remained friends of mine for 20 years thereafter with his wife, his children. He got addicted to prescription drugs, to Percocet. Wound up losing his wife, his children, his law license, his license to drive, and then most of his money. And then in the end, they found him in a hotel room with an empty bottle of Percocet, an empty quart of vodka at 52 years old, dead. And, you know, for me, that says there, but for the grace of God go I.
Right.
This can happen to anyone, and that's what we have to get real about in America.
See, I agree with you, Governor. You know, not to jail people, but don't you also think you got to give people the time to rehab?
Oh, absolutely.
And do you believe that insurance companies are doing that right now? Right now, after a week and a half, they're telling you to get your guy out of here. We're not making any more payments. And these drug counselors are sitting there trying to go to bat for their patients more than they're even treating them.
No, there's
How do we do that? How do we bridge that?
Well, we're gonna have to put more heat on the insurance companies, and that's what we're going to do in New Jersey. We have to make sure that the government is investing, which we are. We've expanded drug court in our state from just 3 counties when I started as governor to 21, all 21 counties now in New Jersey. And we're going to have some more ideas when we give our State of the State address in January about more things New Jersey can do in this regard to be a leader in the nation. But remember this, Brian, we're the first state in the country that says for nonviolent, non-dealing drug offenders, you no longer go to jail. You go to inpatient mandatory drug treatment. And I think that should be the pattern for the whole country, and there should be drug courts across all the federal courts. And if I'm president, that's exactly what we're going to do.
Well, millions and millions of people have seen your viral video. It inspired us to do a week-long series on drug addiction. It starts this morning at 7:30 in about 20 minutes.
I'm so glad you guys are doing it. It's great because there's a lot of families out there. If I second tell one quick story.
Yep.
A couple at my town hall meeting in Plymouth on Saturday came up to me afterwards and said they left their home at 4:30 in the morning from Connecticut that day because they saw the video and they wanted to come and tell me, don't stop talking about this because their son's been suffering for 5 years from heroin addiction.
Sure. And the way you start the video, and we're going to have it on our website so you can watch it, is you talked about your mom, and we all had the same thing where your mom smoked and she tried everything. She tried hypnosis, she tried the patch, it didn't work. There are many different forms of addiction.
There are, and we've got to treat them all the same and give people the tools they need to make themselves better.
And a lot of these drug dealers target what they call affluent high schools because those kids have money to buy, and they know once they get them once, they're addicted forever, and they got a customer.
That's exactly right, and it ruins lives.
Absolutely.
It ruins lives every day, not only of those people who are addicted, but their family members who suffer just as much watching that loved one.
And because you came out, people are going to have the courage to come out because you made it okay. So thanks so much.
We got the conversation going.
Thank you. I'm glad we did, and thanks for doing that this week.
You bet, and have a safe trip over to Milwaukee.
I will. Looking forward to it.
All right. It's going to be good. We're going to get a chance to, all 4 of you get a chance to talk.